This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Thanks for joining us here at the News at Noon. Todd, the temps have hardly budged since we saw you last. It is a cold day. I think it's safe to say we are officially in the heart of November, and the weather is showing us that.
You know, we're going to be talking about temperatures not only today, but really in the coming days as we're entering a very winter-like pattern here, with one exception, and that's over the weekend. It does warm up a little bit, but as Meredith mentioned, we've already hit our high for the day today, and these temperatures have just been holding steady, if not falling a little bit across the area as a cold front has made its way now fully through central Indiana. 37 in Indy, 31 in Crawfordsville. You're below freezing, close to the freezing mark in Lafayette, as well as Richmond at 33 degrees, and 37 is the current temperature right now in Columbus. We're still locked in with the cloud cover. For those of you in Bloomington and points to the south, it was a fairly wet morning for you with these showers that were making its way through the area from Indianapolis to the north. You never really got into that shower activity for the morning commute, and here's what's left. Some light rain showers in Seymour, some snowflakes from Greensburg over towards the Brookville area, and then up towards Connorsville, and that is all finally starting to push off towards the east. The clouds, though, going to be pretty stubborn here to move out, at least during the daylight hours. I am expecting them to clear out, though, as we work our way into the evening hours once the sun sets, but that is also going to cause a problem because once the clouds clear, temperatures really drop off. 27 degrees by 10 p.m. Some of you tomorrow morning wake to temperatures in the teens. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Right now, state troopers continue to look into the death of a man in Henry County after a standoff with deputies that lasted nearly 4 hours. The sheriff's department says deputies were sent to a home near Spiceland last night after a woman called 911 and said shots were being fired inside the house. When deputies arrived, they say 77-year-old Leslie Odier came out of the home and fired shots at them. Odier ran back into the house when officers returned fire. The sheriff's department says Odier was later found dead inside the home. The cause of his death is still under investigation. Your child might have an unscheduled day off school later this month because so many teachers are going to be out of the classroom. Thousands of teachers and their supporters plan to go Red for Ed at the State House on November 19th. That day is also Organization Day for the state legislature. Teachers will again ask lawmakers for pay raises as they want their salaries to be similar to what teachers are making in neighboring states. Indianapolis Public Schools will cancel classes on November 19th since so many teachers will be out.
We are not interested in wreaking havoc on this state by any means, but we are interested in making sure that our legislators and our communities know how important our schools are and our kids are, and so that's what we're trying to do. So there would be further action if these things are not dealt with.
IPS is one of at least 30 school systems canceling classes November 19th due to the Red for Ed Action Day. IPS says it will have a makeup day in April. Public hearings in the impeachment investigation of President Trump begin less than 1 week from now. The member of Congress who represents much of Indianapolis will be a key part of those hearings. Democratic Congressman Andre Carson serves on the House Intelligence Committee. That committee is hearing most of the testimony on the president's efforts to withhold military aid to Ukraine unless the country's president investigated Trump's political opponents. Carson says the hearings will give the public the chance to see the evidence for themselves.
They'll see a line of questioning coming from staff and a few members like myself and others. But my hope is that the questions being displayed before the public will give people a real-time feeling and sense to be able to make their own conclusion about this administration and its excess.
Carson says his criticism does not extend to his fellow Hoosier Vice President Mike Pence. Carson called Pence a patriot and says he is confident Pence would do what's right for the American people. Even as they get ready for public hearings, Democrats continue to release transcripts from the private testimony of key impeachment witnesses. The former acting ambassador of Ukraine implicated the president during his testimony. And as ABC's Serena Marshall tells us, President Trump tried to get the Attorney General to publicly clear him less than 2 months ago.
The third administration official to be on that now infamous July 25th phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's president, arriving on Capitol Hill this morning. An advisor to the vice president, Jennifer Williams' lawyer, telling ABC her testimony is expected to reflect what has already been made public.
You know, the American people have the transcript of the president's call, and they can see there was no quid pro quo, and the president did nothing wrong.
Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, a White House Ukraine expert, previously testified he was so concerned by the phone call, he reported the conversation to his superiors. And Tim Morrison, a top Russia official, told lawmakers he was concerned by the call, but didn't think anything illegal happened.
It's all a hoax. It's a scam.
Overnight, President Trump slamming the inquiry. And this morning on Twitter, Trump saying reports he asked Attorney General William Barr to hold a press conference to say he broke no laws in that phone call with Ukraine's leader. Quote, totally untrue and just another fake news story with anonymous sources that don't exist. Several sources confirmed to ABC News the request and that it was made in September when the White House released its summary of the call. The sources say Barr declined to do it. Next week, public hearings begin and the American people can hear for themselves. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, a former prosecutor, is planning to call just a handful of witnesses in several hearings over the next few weeks. Republicans, meanwhile, continue to criticize the process, avoiding questions on the substance.
The whole process is a joke. I'm not buying into Schiff running a legitimate operation over there.
House Republicans have until Saturday to make their request for witnesses for the public hearings, but if the chairman, Adam Schiff, disagrees with a subpoena request, it'll go to the full committee for a vote. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Today, President Trump officially became a candidate in the nation's first presidential primary. Vice President Mike Pence flew to New Hampshire to formally file Trump's re-election paperwork there. The president does have Republican primary challengers. Former Congressman Mark Sanford and Joe Walsh say they are running, as is former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld. Many state Republican parties, however, have canceled their primary elections in a show of solidarity with Trump. The New Hampshire primary happens February 11th of next year. A man is accused of killing several members of his family, but his attorneys say their death is tied to a Mexican drug cartel. Up next, Court TV covers the bizarre case that is now going to trial. And he volunteered to serve when he was a teenager, and he barely made it through one of the war's worst attacks. Now a shrinking community of survivors says farewell to one of their own. Todd.
And Meredith, you need to grab the heavy coat not only today, but in the days ahead as we're switching out the air masses here. Winter-like feel is going to be taking over not only central Indiana, but much of the Midwest. Teens in the Dakotas right now. Some of those teens will be in central Indiana by tomorrow morning. We talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
New Grays tonight on ABC. This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon, I'm Ted Rollins. It is day 2 of testimony in the family massacre murder trial in Tallahassee, Florida. Henry Segura is accused of killing his ex, 27-year-old Brandy Peters, her 6-year-old twins, and his 3-year-old son. Prosecutors say the motive was a $20,000 debt of back child support. The defense argues that Peters was killed because she was stealing drugs from a Mexican cartel and that a man named Carlos Santos ordered the hit.
He recruited Brandy to work as a mule for him, and she did indeed start working for him. At some point, he became aware that she was lifting drugs off the deliveries. It was a significant amount, and he knew at that point it was on him to take care of it. Otherwise, he would be taken care of by the Zetas. And so he set out to take care of the problem. Mr. Santos will testify in this trial. Mr. Santos will admit to you that he ordered the murders, that he orchestrated the murders.
In Colorado, the state's star witness in the Patrick Frazee trial is back on the stand today. Crystal Lee Kenny testified that Frazee told her how he killed his fiancée, 29-year-old Kelsey Barrett, with a baseball bat. Lee told jurors that Barrett's final words were, "Please stop," as Frazee was beating her to death. We'll have coverage of both trials throughout the day, including live testimony from Tallahassee, all on Court TV. Now, back to you.
Ted, thank you. You can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. She almost died with her baby in the backseat of her car. Now an Indiana woman is celebrating the hope she has because of a life-saving drug she got before it was too late. And we are taking a live look from downtown. View to the north. The clouds are hovering over the Circle City this afternoon, and that means temps have not budged since this morning. Meteorologist Todd Clausen will have your full Storm Team 6 forecast coming up. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
How at dignityindiana.com.
Time for an RTV6 Consumer Alert. Joining me in studio today is Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau. Tim, it is the time of year. It's getting cold out. You may want to use that wood-burning fireplace. I know we have one at our house. And if you didn't clean it out after last season, you may want to get a chimney sweep now. But people need to watch out for some things.
Yeah, you know, we always kind of equate that chimney sweep with the Mary Poppins movie and Dick Van Dyke and what have you. But it works a little bit differently. First off, you actually clean the chimney from the inside of the house. It's not where they go down from up top. They actually do it, and they've got a lot of really great equipment and things like that so that they keep your house clean and all the soot and things like that. But if you're right, if you don't get it cleaned out, lots of things can happen. That soot that builds up, number one, is a fire hazard.
Yes.
There have been many fires reported from fireplaces that haven't been maintained properly. And number two, it will damage the masonry, the coating inside your fireplace. So you want to make sure that you do keep those clean. So just make certain that you choose someplace. Don't always go for the lowest price. That's not necessarily the best place to go. Number two, just be cautious of door-to-door sales. Get a lot of quotes. And then you mentioned something very early that's true. You should actually clean it after the season, so sometime in the spring, as opposed to now before the season starts. Really do it right after it gets warm and things like that, so you get all that soot and things like that out of there, and it doesn't have a chance to eat away at the brick or any of the masonry inside.
All right, Tim, thank you so much. This has been an RTV6 Consumer Alert.
Lauren, thank you. It is a big hit song you may have had in your downloads for a while. And for one second grade teacher, it's made a difference in the lives of her students. Eric Thomas has the story of how Lizzo is bringing the power of positivity to one classroom.
The original hit by Lizzo is about a romance gone bad and features adult lyrics.
You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back. And that's the sound of me not calling you back.
I heard this song over the summer. Loved it. It's been my jam.
Each year, Los Medanos School's second grade teacher, Dorothy Mallory, chooses a song to start each day with positive energy. This year, she wanted Truth Hurts.
I knew when I heard this song that it's definitely not, appropriate for school.
So she wrote new kid-friendly lyrics and taught them to the students, which spawned this video, which was posted on the school's Facebook page. It has since gone viral, with viewers attracted to the energy and positive messaging about education, learning, and having each other's backs. The kids like it too.
It makes us feel happy in the morning and makes us feel loved. When we sing this song, we forget about all the bad things that happened.
Sometimes personal life gets crazy, and as soon as we sing that song, it's like a time for us to exhale, be in that moment, feed off each other's energy.
So school's out. These kids will leave today with the energy they've compiled from singing the song, and they'll come back tomorrow morning and do it all again.
Yeah, I love this class.
And it shows. In Pittsburgh, Eric Thomas, ABC7 News.
Well, one song that no one in central Indiana will be singing today, Todd. Walking on Sunshine.
No, we're definitely locked in with the clouds here across the area this afternoon. Hopefully, maybe a few peaks of sunshine late, but with sunset being earlier, not a guarantee here as we go through. The big change has been in the temperature department. Yesterday, we were up in the 40s and 50s. Today, we are sitting in the 30s. Our official high went into the record books just after midnight, but it's been downhill ever since then. You can see 37, 38, the common number anywhere you go across central Indiana. Indiana. The wind, it's out of the north. That's a chilly wind direction for us. And when you factor in that wind, it puts wind chill values in the 20s. So this is what it really feels like outside right now. 28 in Indy, 24 is what it feels like in Lafayette. 30 is what it currently feels like over in the Columbus area. Temperatures as far as actual numbers, not going to really go up any further throughout the day today. So we'll see our temperatures continue to diminish. Now, the one thing that has also diminished is the rainfall coverage across the area. And we had some pretty good rain showers down in southern portions of the state all morning long. And you can see, with the exception of a few showers near Seymour and mixing with a few snowflakes as you work your way just to the east of Greensburg here over towards Brookville, there's a few snowflakes mixing in. You're not going to see any accumulating snow if you're heading down I-74, so don't worry about that. But these showers will also start to move out. It's part of a big system. Look at this band of rain. Stretches from New England all the way through Kentucky down into Texas, and we just kind of got a glancing blow because the cold front was moving pretty quickly, so it suppressed all the rain from moving to the north, and it's pushing it off towards the east. So at least that is the good news in our forecast. The problem is, as I mentioned, once the skies start to clear, which hopefully we'll get a few peaks of sunshine in late this afternoon with sunset at 5:37, though definitely not a guarantee. Once the skies clear this evening, temperatures will fall back down into the 20s as you wake up tomorrow morning. 17 in some of the outlying areas, about 22 degrees here in the city. So it's going to be a solid freeze here overnight tonight. So certainly going to be a cold start to our commute for your day on Friday. You'll have to warm up the car, grab the heavy coat and the hat and the gloves as well. And then throughout the day, even with sunshine, temperatures really don't moderate a whole lot, back up into the mid to upper 30s. Now, as we head into the weekend, temperatures do moderate a little bit. Saturday starts off really chilly, but then gets up to 46 degrees. As we go into Sunday, 54 degrees with skies that'll be mostly cloudy across the area. Now, if you are running the Monumental Marathon on Saturday morning, temperatures start in the 20s. It's really, really chilly. The sky should be mainly clear. However, the wind will start to pick up throughout the course of that race. So it does become pretty breezy. It's a southerly wind, though. So that's what's going to bring the temperatures up into the 40s. And then a reinforcing shot of cold air is going to come in here as we work our way into the day on Monday. And that is going to drop the temperatures back down into the teens once again for both Tuesday and Wednesday morning. As that front comes through on Monday, look for a round of snow showers. And then our high temperature on Tuesday is only 30 degrees. So Meredith feeling more like the middle of January to start next week than the middle of November.
Okay, well, maybe that means by the time we're in January, temps will feel kind of like mid-March or April.
May. Yeah, fingers crossed. Right?
Wishful thinking. All right, Todd, we're going to take a live look right now at downtown View to the West. There is still more to come here on the news at noon. We'll also have one last check at your forecast. We'll be right back.
And Elder Law help you get your ducks in a row.
Art Lederman was just 17 years old when he enlisted in the Navy for the Second World War shortly after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. The Illinois native was also one of more than 300 sailors who survived when the USS Indianapolis was sunk by a Japanese torpedo near the end of the war. Lederman clung to a floater net for more than 96 hours in the Pacific Ocean before he and his shipmates were rescued. The USS Indianapolis Survivors Group says Art Lederman died this week. He was 95 years old. There are now only 11 survivors of the sinking USS Indianapolis still with us. And finally today, a story of hope, and it comes from the city of Hope, Indiana. 3 years ago, Erica Hurt became known across the country for the wrong reason. Police in Hope shared this picture of Erica after she overdosed on heroin. She was driving her car at the time, her infant son in the back seat. Luckily, he was not hurt, and officers were able to revive Erica with Narcan. Today, this is Erica Hurt. She is sober. She says her recovery has gone well, and she wanted to post these pictures with her son, who, as the sign says, has his mom in his life. Erica says she wants to show everyone the importance of Narcan for both addicts and their family. You can read more on this incredible story right now at theindychannel.com. Gives me goosebumps, Todd. It's so great to see that.
Absolutely. All right, outside right now, lots of clouds. It's breezy. It's chilly. Temperatures in the 30s. Wind chills in the 20s this afternoon. We're down to 22 in the city tomorrow morning. Teens in the outlying areas, only 37 on Friday. Little warmer over the weekend for Saturday and Sunday, but then another blast of winter air arrives to start next week.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. In the meantime, stay Stay warm and have a great afternoon.